So whoever's phone rings first will sponsor lunch for everyone.
You're checking your
Yeah, I'm checking
No, please take Kartik's phone and make it answer.
Be blessed by the divine. Welcome to the second day first session. We are going to learn about two very important topics today. One is about consciousness. Consciousness is God. Another is about maneuvering of six temperaments. Okay? Attention is very important. Okay? We will. I would say this is the very first step. It's like we are entering into a high school kind of range now. Right? So we will apply the basics here. From this point onwards, whatever you learn about spirituality, whatever you learn about anything, is going to be just a repetition of that. Only that our realization of the same is going to be deeper and deeper and deeper. So whatever we learn is going to be just what we start with. Okay? We will start the session with the Nityananda meditation. Be blessed by the divine. Let the atmosphere around us be filled with divine energy. Let the divine energy listen through us. Our body and soul purified and blessed. Let the divine energy protect us, guide us, and lead us. Salutations to Mother. Salutations to Father. Salutations to you, Vedatri Maharaj. We're going to do Nityananda meditation. Let's sit with our back, neck, and head straight. Let's think at the base of our spine. inhale from the base of your spine to the top of your head. As you inhale, imagine the energy is coming to the top of your head. As it reaches the top of your head, like a fountain, let it flow through the entire body. It's like a pipette. The energy raises up to the spine, to the top of your head. As it hits there, it just flows through the entire body. Inhale to the top of your head. And flow through the entire body. Inhale to the top of your head. Flow through the entire body. Top of your head. And flow through the body. Top of your head. Biomedicine flow through the entire body. The top of your head. And flow through the body. And do it part by part from head to toe. The top of your head. Now let the biomedicine fill our entire head. The top of your head. Entire head. The biomedicine raise the top. Fill the entire head. But all throughout, you never keep your lungs empty or hold your air breath. Just raise it to the top of your head. Spread it to the entire head now. The top of your head. Gentle to the entire head. Spread it to the entire head. Raise the energy to the top of your head. Raise it to the top of your head. Head and neck. Raise the energy to the top. Spread it to head and neck. Raise, spread, raise, spread, raise, spread, raise, raise, spread, raise, spread, raise, spread. Now, as we spread, let's make sure our shoulders and arms are getting energy. Raise, spread until head, neck, shoulders, and arms. Raise, spread, raise, and spread. Just with your thought, try to raise up and spread to head, neck, shoulders, and arms. Raise, spread, raise, spread, raise, spread, raise, spread, so top of the head, spread until chest and back. Raise, spread, spread, spread. Release to the top of it. Spread until the legs. Raise to the top. Spread until feet. Raise. Spread. Release. Spread. Release. Spread. Release. Spread. Body is filled with this biomatic energy. Let's just observe it from head to toe. Just stay as a witness to the biomedicine flow from head to toe. You don't need to control your breath. Just witness the biomedicine from head to toe. Just witness. Just as the biomedicine from head to toe. to control your breath. Just observe your body, head to toe. Perceive the biomagnetism. Without any movement in your body. Just observe the biomagnetism. Head to toe. Be blessed by the divine. The grace of this divine energy, we shall enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, wisdom, prosperity, peace, and happiness. The grace of this divine energy, we shall enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, wisdom, prosperity, peace, happiness. Grace of this divine energy, we shall enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, wisdom, prosperity, peace, happiness. Be blessed by the divine. Let's conclude the meditation. Gently wrap your palms. Open your eyes to your palms. Let's spread the excess energy all over your body. Place your hands above your head. Take a deep breath.
Colin, see the board. Colin, are you able to see the board? Colin.
I can see it. Yes, thank you.
This is what is.
Karthik, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
During the meditation, I couldn't hear anything from you. So I just did a bunch of different meditations, but I couldn't hear your instructions. So maybe next time, if the microphone can be closer to you.
Yeah, I will speak a little louder.
Thank you.
In the morning sessions, I used to have a earphone that would. All right, so in that sense, so during the meditation, as we end, what did you feel? Towards the end, towards the end, as we spread it to the entire body, as we observe the field within the body, what did you felt?
Flowing kind of something. Blood flow. Fast flowing.
Something is flowing. Way something subtle is moving.
Some sensation.
Some sensation or some subtle feel
Moving.
going through the entire body.
Subtle means you're moving kind of thing. I'm not understanding the word.
Subtle means like if you blow your air like
Ah.
this, it will not be very strong. It will be very light. Very light. Some kind of a movement. Okay. It's basically
like
that.
breeze, like ocean
Like a breeze or like anything which is very soft, not very strong. It's like that's a sensation of energy flow within the body. Okay? That's how magnetic flow, the energy flow within the body. That's how most of the people will perceive it. Okay? Okay? So we are going to see more in detail about what are the sensations or what is happening during that time. Okay? So this is internal meditation. Now we are going to go through a topic what consciousness is called.
Before that, can I ask one question?
You want to say somewhere?
And then the Dhyana meditation. So I can't now sync with your go up and come down. So
Okay.
So by the time so go up means by the time I come down. So because it's very
That's okay.
slow.
That's okay.
Okay, so
That's
it's
okay.
fine.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Because I know you guys are going very slow, but I am going fast. Because I can't breathe.
As much as possible, be slow. If you want to increase the breath, then do breathing practice regularly. Do breathing practice and Kapalabhati regularly. That will help us to increase the breath. As much as is higher, it will be better.
Maybe your breathing pace and the pace is different. That's what. Nothing.
Yeah. Okay, let's go into our relaxation today. We're going to talk about consciousness. It's called. Right? Let's first understand what is consciousness. What is consciousness?
Fabric. Awareness, like from yesterday.
Yeah, it's a fabric which connects everything. Right? Okay. We'll go more in detail about different aspects of that. Okay. By definition, consciousness, the way Maharishi defines this, is the order of functioning. Order of function. Okay. Consciousness is the order of function in everything. Okay. Is function a verb or noun?
Verb.
Verb or noun?
Verb, I think.
Okay, what is functioning?
Here noun and verb both in this context.
So generally, you say function, it is a verb. Something it is functioning. Right? Something is moving. That's a function. Right? I'm throwing. It's an action. Right? It's a verb. Right? Order of function. What is order means?
Sequence.
The sequence.
Arrangement or sequence, or if you do this one, you will get it. So some kind of formula.
I would say the
Action.
synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Sort of. I'm not able to get that. I'm getting my words only in Tamil. It's not coming properly, but I could make it a synchronicity.
Tamil, Yeka, Urungu.
Yeah, something like
Right? So order.
Discipline.
In court scenes, you were seeing like order, and order. Right? Or discipline. Discipline. Or definition of how things work. Right? Consistent pattern of something. Right? So order of function. means when something function, a discipline or a pattern, position or regularity of the function. When something moves, there is the pattern of how it is happening. Okay? This is what is consciousness. Okay? We are going to understand what is that, and we are going to understand what are the challenges we have in understanding that. What are the challenges we have in perceiving or understanding or appreciating that order of function? Okay, that's what we are going to understand. Right? So let's get back to the statement what we had yesterday. Okay. What is that? What is that knowing by which everything gets known? That's how Maharishi Chandra starts this topic.
Well, I think that if we know what is happening, what is in us, and what is consciousness in us, we'll know everything.
Okay. Okay. So closer. Any other thoughts?
Ourself.
Ourself. That's it. Okay.
Magnetism. Biomagnetism. I
Biomagnetism.
heard your talking.
The purpose is to make you think. Then let's come closer, validate with what Maharishi has thought, and see the differences so that we can amend our thoughts. So all what we are doing is somebody has self-realized, somebody has got enlightened, right? We want to get into that state, right? And instead of just reading and by-hearting it, if you just read and by-heart it, you will know how he attained self-realization. That's not what we want. We want to get self-realized. We want to get enlightened. Then we need to apply his thought process and see what is the gap between us. And then slowly we will amend this gap, and so that we will also attain the same state. That is our goal. We don't need to by-heart anything. Just see where we start so that we can get in that state.
Since I know the answer, I'm actually I'm able to connect everything.
That answer is wrong.
It's wrong?
You heard it partially. Right? Maharishi's statement is the truth. What is that knowing? What is that knowing by which everything gets known? It is truth. Right? And what is truth?
Consciousness.
Is what we are going to see. Right? What is truth is what we are going to see. Okay? And he say that, and there are certain factors to understand this, or to realize that there are some hidden secrets within us. The faculty to understand this is within us only.
Mm-hmm.
The faculty to understand this is within us only. Okay? And that is kind of hidden within us, so that is not able to understand. Let's go through his thought process and see how did what are the factors he thought was stopping him from this realization, okay? And then how did he overcome that? So that let's try to take some part of it, and then we also get. Okay? And you see that there are certain hidden factors which is not allowing one to get this realization. He used to say, Manish used to say this story where someone was traveling in a train, and he found that there was a thief who was also coming in the same compartment, right? And the thief was seeing the money what he had. So the thief was going out and then coming back in, and afterwards, this person who wants to save this money, right? He hid it in a special place so the thief could not find the money all through the night. Okay? And the place where he hid is anyone's guess.
Thieves.
Under the thief's pillow. Right? The same way, the secret or the treasure is within us. It is within us, And once we realize that, once we understand that, once we realize that very clearly, then through that we can understand the truth or absolute or consciousness or different dimensions of it. What are the three things which we need to understand? Is unified force, life force, and biomagnetism. These are the three fundamental treasures hidden within us, which is not letting us, which would help us to appreciate the absolute, divine, God, nature, however you call it.
If we realize these three, we can.
Yes.
But due to some circumstance, we are not able to realize these three itself, right?
Yes.
Unified force,
Life force, and biomagnetism.
Translation.
Unified force, இறையளவு, உயிராற்றல், ஜீவகாந்த சக்தி. இறையாற்றல், 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 the absolute.
Biomagnetism is just God energy.
Biomagnetism is the magnetic field in us.
God energy.
Yeah, and the second. Okay, so basically, you know about the universe. So fundamental to let's first see what is all these. Define what is all these, and then we'll understand what is not, why we are not able to realize it and appreciate it. Then how we can appreciate it. Okay. Start with unified force. What is force?
which can move something.
Okay.
Pressure on an
We all have studied about Newton's first law of motion, right? If I keep this pen here, unless something I push, is still going to be there.
Yes.
Right? If I want this to move, there has to be a little push.
Yes.
Right? Right? Everything has to be in the same state unless there is a push. This is the universal law. Right?
The first law.
That's the first law. Inertia. Okay? And the same thing holds good for anything universal. From this pen to all the planets in this entire universe. Right? And for one to move, there needs to be an additional push. Right? And what is that push?
Gravity.
And where does that come from? What is gravity?
Okay.
And where does that come from? So to move this pen,
You need
I'm
some-
giving a push. How did I got this energy? From the food. How did the food got the energy?
Sunlight.
Sunlight, or you should go even further. The atoms, within the atoms, there is a little push. Some part of it got a push, and then it will apply that force. Right? So that fundamental level, there is something to make something move. To make something move, there needs to be an additional energy which needs to be applied. And where did that energy come from? Right? And where did that energy come from? Or where did that force to move something come from? If I move, I'm pushing, my muscles are moving, and in my muscles, there are some atoms and elements, and they are pushing it in. And within the atoms, there will be charged particles, subatomic particles, and that is releasing a push. And when it is all together, you will see the net resultant. Right? The same way, if you look at the overall universe, cosmos, there is a force all around, and that is making the Earth to spin, and making things to move. Right? That is force.
So where did that originate from?
Let's get to that. Where did that force
From
originate
absolute space.
Right? We'll get to that. Okay. After, let's define everything. Let me just say what is it. Right? So Maharishi says that force and consciousness are two inseparable entities of space, absolute space.
Okay. Absolute space is a definition. It's a parameters. These two are
Absolute
parameters.
space is the fundamental. Of that, there are two entities,
Okay.
which are two inseparable entities. Actually, force and consciousness, you cannot separate one and see the other.
Okay.
It's like if you look at this pen, right?
It will have some movement in it.
From this direction, if you see, you will see a black dot. Right? If I ask you to define, you'll see that it is having a pointed dot, pointed black dot in front. Right? And if I look at this and I give a definition, I'll say this is having a spike in it, but still the same pen. Right? It's still the same pen. Both together makes it a single object. Your the frame of reference might be different, but still fundamentally the same. Like the absolute space from the frame of reference, you might see it as force or consciousness, but it's still the same.
Yin and yang, right?
I don't know what is yin and yang. I haven't read it, so I cannot. Right? So it's basically absolute space has force and consciousness. Those are two fundamental, inseparable entities of
Steel and plastic, something like that.
not something like that. You for one entity, right? You have it. You can see from different perspectives, but still it will be the same. Right? You can take
The one you said.
From which parameter you are seeing it, it will be
it will
visible.
be different.
One thing will have length parameter, breadth, width, like that, right? If you want to define anything, it will have so many parameters to it. In which angle you are seeing, that parameter will be more visible to you. In that perspective, absolute space will have two and they are not separatable. Force and consciousness. There are two, but they are one. That's
Good.
what I.
Yeah, good good revision you did for yourself.
So is it perception kind of thing, or?
Perception is from what aspect you're looking into it. Right? But the definition what Maharishi says is absolute space has two inseparable entities. One is force, the other is consciousness.
Maybe, sorry if you can, if we have a Tamil explanation, maybe
There was other example yesterday.
we'll be able to get
The
better.
wooden elephant and the wood.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay. Now, yeah, that's it. Okay, now I understand. Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Good.
So yeah, so now I got it. So which one will be the wood and which one will be the actual elephant?
Depends upon the person who is seeing it, his level of understanding.
Depending upon in what context you are to fit in, depending upon the context what you want to fit in, you will see it as force or consciousness. Okay, depending upon the context. Okay, but in essence, absolute space has two inseparable entities. One is force, the other is consciousness. Okay, with that we'll go further. The second one, what we want to see is life force. Okay, what is life force?
Life force, that absolute space from that, due to that thing, one particle, like due to
Yeah, let's take the example of what Murli said yesterday, right?
one
The
particle.
water flowing, right? That is a current. The flowing, the flow of water is the current. The flow of water is a current, right? And that movement, the sudden flow of the charge particles. So in the space itself, the charge particles move fully in a very high speed. That is what we say as force, life force. And as it is flowing within an animate object, we see that as a life force. Okay, and the life force determines the biomagnetism. From the as the water falls, you'll see the water gets dispersed, right, and mixed with air, and all together it gives a field around it. That's what we call as biomagnetism. Okay, both together we call as biomagnetism.
Is that can we define life force is the unified force inside our body? Can we define
the manifestation of unified force in our body is through life force particles, life energy. Okay, and that influences the biomagnetism. Okay, that influences the biomagnetism. How much biomagnetism we have is a function of how much life force we have. Right? Only when the water charge is flowing fast, you have greater magnetic field around it. Right? Okay. So
I don't want to confuse, but I just had.
Then if you are doubtful that you might confuse, just write it down. Write it down. We will take it out sometime. Okay. All right. So the life force particles. How do we spend it? How do we use it?
Senses.
We get it from food.
We get from food. It's flowing through our body. It will be the life force particles will be spinning at one speed. So let's say it's spinning at 14 to 40 cycles. 14 to 40 cycles per second. And when we get angry or we get into an emotional state, what will happen? The force particles starts spinning faster.
And expand more energy.
When two force particles spin faster, what will happen?
More.
You cannot bring it closer, and it will move apart. When the distance between them will become larger, and with the greater intensity, when you spin it, it will expand. And it will not just be contained into your body. As more particles, life force particles are spin, it will slowly expand out of the body. You will end up losing it.
They will go into space.
Yeah, it will not be contained within the influence of your own body. Right? It's like you launch a rocket or a missile out of the Earth's gravitational pull. Right? When it is beyond a certain escape velocity, when it is beyond certain point, it is no more attracted to its field. Right? It will still be in a different orbit. Neither the life force particles, when it is running very fast, spinning or very fast, they are not within the influence of our own body's force of attraction. You will lose it. The time when we use it, when we lose that much, is when we get into a very emotional state.
Is it the only way, or will there be like naturally also we lose some bones kind of thing like that, right?
We will continue to lose the life force. We will continue to lose the life force, and like what Murli was saying yesterday, and you also read through through Kaya Kalpam is, and the SVF is that is holding it. The density of the SVF, which if it is denser, it can give the potential to more life force particles, and that gives the potential to the biomagnetism around the body. Right? We are in that same line. Okay. So one key thing which we need to remember is once it goes out, it doesn't come back in. What is gone is gone. It's like putting inside a coil hundi. It's gone, it's gone. Right? Is what there's a beautiful Siddhar song. Right? As you blow a English, as you blow horn, the sound which is emitted out of it will never come back in. Right? The same way as you milk a cow, water comes out, it doesn't go back in. It never comes out. It is a state change. It is a state change. Right? And as it expands out, it never comes back in. That's something which we need to remember here with respect to life force. The life force, once it is not in the body, once you separate them, you need to get it. So the reason why we are seeing that here is we are seeing what are the factors why this treasure is under our pillow. We are not able to see it. Right? We know that we have unified force. We have this life force within us. Why we are not able to see it is because getting into this emotional state. Okay? Getting super angry, sending it out, and hence we are not seeing it. Okay? Under the same emotional state, whatever interaction we have,
No, no.
okay? You can take some juice. Okay? Whatever interaction we have, whatever the thing, if we touch anything or any sensation we have, what is happening there?
Mind, that's the touch feel will reach our mind.
What is touch?
Sense.
Maybe the biomagnetism in that is interacted with our thing. That will be recorded in our.
Yeah. So in our body, we have magnetic field flowing all over. Right? So at the point when you're touching the pen, the biomagnetic field from your body that field is crashing on the pen, reflecting from there, and then it comes back and then gets into us. Right? Penetrates and comes back. As it comes back, this makes a disturbance in the magnetic field within us. Right? And when it comes back, it goes and takes an impact in our genetic center. Okay? What is genetic center?
Store everything.
So life force particles, combination of vital fluid and life force particles.
Molecular vortex.
Yeah, very close. Yeah.
Bone marrow liquid, everything I was telling next. Our brain is made up of the same thing, which is like part of the bone marrow.
Bone marrow.
Yeah, that will be a part of that. That is vital fluid.
Mm-hmm.
And along with that, life force particles also. Whatever we eat, that will be converted into life force particles and stored in.
Okay, very good. So we just refine it much more clearly. Right? Genetic center is a combination of three things. Right? As a combination of our physical entity, it is a sexual vital fluid. Right? As a representation of our life force, the energy particle, it has the life force, and then the biomagnetism. All three combined together, the representation is the genetic center.
Okay, biomagnetism.
Okay? SVF, life force particles, and then the biomagnetism all together, we say it as a
So
genetic
OJS is something life force only?
OJS
Life force, right?
is a condensed life force.
See, the biomagnetism is subproduct of like.
Yes. The life force particles, as it spins from that wave, what we got is biomagnetism. Okay? This is a very important entity which we need to understand. So this is a treasure. So this is one key thing which is different between an animate object and an inanimate thing. Right? Any animate objects, any living being will have a genetic center. We have SVF, life force, and biomagnetism. When its biomagnetism is contained within that entity, we call it as a living thing. Right? On its genetic center, there is an imprint made. Okay, and then whenever the frequency of the biomagnetism, the frequency of the life force is reduced, right? Or depending upon the frequency of the life force, the respective thought or respective imprint which is made at that frequency gets elevated, and as the same life force and biomagnetism flows through our brain, that makes it and gives us a picture of a thought. Right? We are all with me. we can see that at this point of time, so when you're talking about the elephant, and when you were talking about the elephant, where was that elephant?
Imagination.
Right? Where was that stored?
The genetic center.
Right?
More
It is there in the genetic center.
Genetics.
Genetic center. Right? Genetic center is a function of all these three. Mooladhara, when you say it is just the endocrine gland.
Okay.
Right? Genetic center is a function of all these three. Right? Let's say if someone is dead, does he have a genetic center?
No, it will be nature. It will be combined into the nature. I mean,
Is the life force gone? Right?
life force is gone, but the imprints.
Once life force gone, biomagnets will also go there. Only the fluid might be there.
No,
Fluid also come out, right?
explained. Mind. He explained it will come out.
It will come out, right?
Kayakalpam you told. I think that life force particles.
Okay, so let's keep that for a different discussion. I saw some of you were drowning a little bit, so I posed a question to.
Once life force gone,
Come out,
everyone will
right?
wake up, okay.
Okay, all right. So we got introduced to unified force. What is life energy and what is biomagnetism? Okay, and we saw that every interaction we have gets stored and imbibed into this life force, imbibed into this genetic center through the biomagnetism. The biomagnetism is what is we spend and get into this interaction, and through this biomagnetism is only what we sense everything, and that gets stored into our genetic center. Okay? Clear?
Just one question. So sometimes when we touch any metal thing, like suddenly we may feel shock, right?
Yeah.
So is it because of magnetism in us?
So, I mean, any interaction is because of magnetism in us, right? Any interaction is because of magnetism.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Static, you're telling?
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, what is the relationship between unified force, or absolute space, and life force particles?
Life force has some limits. It will go only in the body. It will not go.
Can you pose a question?
What is the relationship between absolute space or
Life force?
absolute space, unified force, and life force?
Both are made up of same energy particle.
Unified force and life force.
Okay, let's first see what is the relationship between unified force and life force.
Basic particles, basic bring up the same.
Life force is within us and it always interacts with the unified force.
What makes a life force spin? Life force charge particles spin. If there is some charge particles which are moving, what is making it move?
Consciousness?
The pressure from
Because,
the absolute
as you said, right, absolute has two parameters, force and consciousness. You cannot
Force,
solve-
right?
Yeah, force.
Force.
That
So you don't
force-
have automatic force. The same force is what is when it is going spinning, making the charge particles in the spin.
Something
We
is
call it as
doing-
life force. Right? When something spins, right? See, as I spin, there is a vortex. The periphery will be spinning very fast. In its center, there will not be any.
Okay.
Right? And as we saw that it is the space that itself it is spinning around, the space that itself is spinning around. Right? In its center, as the charge particle spin, there will be space. Right?
That will not spin.
That will not spin. That will be static. Absolute
That is constant.
static. Right? And where is this spinning? If it is spinning, right? That means there is some space for it to spin.
Volume.
Right? Nothing else is obstructing it. If there is another particle which is also spinning there, you will not be having any space to spin. right? Inside, in between, there is some space. There is absolute space. Around it is also there is space. Right? Around it is also there is space.
Only around you say?
That's why you saw this vortex, right? At the vortex, at the center, it's absolute space, right? When you spin like this, at the center, at the vortex, if you had some enough time, we can go and if you in a bucket, if you just fill in water and then if you spin it around and put some something on or a little wax on it, right? When it is in the periphery, you'll see that motion. When it comes towards the center, you won't see that moving. It will just become stationary. Right? Fundamental to any motion. Right? So when the waves move, we see that as waves, but fundamentally it's the water that is moving, the force that's moving. Okay? Alright, so now what we saw is in the middle, there is absolute space, and around it is also space. That is what is making it move. And what is moving is also space, absolute space. Right? That itself is moving. We saw that water in motion and waves together. And when the space around it, the static space around it, and that mixed with the spinning wave, right? That creates whatever is some charged particles. Some of it, as it spins, is not like solid here. There will be small particles that comes and mix along with the space outside, and then that interacts with the neighboring particle. That is what we say as wave.
Oh, that's what.
Right? That's what we call it as wave. Remember the water flow. Right? The water, flowing water, interacts with the space around it. Right? And then that creates a small droplets around it. That's what we call as. And that has a property of moving. And then when it goes and hit another field with the same thing, makes an impact there and then comes back, reflects back. When it reflects back, as it comes back into the same entity, into the same space again, there will be an impact made again, and there will be interaction. When it is all happening inside a living structure, that's the place where that interaction is happening all together, we say that it is getting stored inside the genetic center. Okay? It is happening within us. It is happening within us. We are seeing it. But we are not able to see it. Right? But we are, even now we have only thought about it. We can, with analogies, we have understood. But we have not realized it within us. We have not realized it within us. And there is something still stopping us. Right?
This question answer we didn't get, Karthik. Absolute space, unified force and life force.
Oh, okay. So we saw that absolute space is in the center and outside it. Right? And for life force particles, within the life force particles, in the center it should be there. And the life force particles also spinning inside absolute space.
Yes.
We saw that.
Yes.
And the magnetic waves, which is coming out from the life force itself, is the function of absolute space as well. Right? And what makes that spin
is unified force.
Is unified force. It's all the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the magnetic? I understood center is there. Outside is also there.
Yeah.
Then you said something about magnetic.
What is magnetism? So the water flows in the waterfall, right? Or the charged particles as it moves. Some part of the charged particles, when it mixes along with the static space out of it, right? They tend to move a little away from this. Depending upon the force, they get carried away. And that movement, the combination of static space outside this charged particle and the dynamic force which is coming together is what is magnetic. Okay? It's what is magnetic field. Right? This is why Maharishi is beautiful definition of waves. Right? If this magnetic field is, this is what is magnetic field is, it is coming out. Right? in school or in science experiments, you would have seen the waves will go up and then turn back. Then go up and turn back. Right? Why should it turn back? If you have a sinusoidal wave or a triangular wave, whatever it is, it will go to how much of
spinning, it will be attracted.
Why should its direction turn around?
Maybe it is repelled by something.
What is repelling it?
Another particle.
And the other particle, this space itself is right, all around it. When the wave travels around, the energy from the wave travels around, since the space is around it as well, when it hits, when as much as it hits, it turns back.
It will lose energy
Yes.
again.
As it hits, there will be some losing, and then slowly it fizzles out and then comes down. That's how it works in nature. So if there is no space, if there is nobody to stop it and hit it, then it will be continuously moving. In nature, there is no one straight line, straight force. There is no free movement of electron. It's never. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So let's get back to. We saw that the energy, life energy within us, the biomagnetism within us, is all a manifestation of the unified force and life energy. Right? Why we are not able to see it, right? And we just saw that a few minutes back. In this life force, in this charge particles, we are seeing a manifestation of life force, a unified force. Right? Now, when it is spinning faster, it is further away from the space. Right? When that spin slows down, that is in par with the space around it. Right? Maybe? Maybe?
Yes. I didn't get your point.
Yeah. So if the life force particle, if it is, it's basically the space that is spinning. Okay. So it is spinning. So when the spin is slow and strong,
it will combine with absolute space.
It is same as absolute space. Right?
The center
We saw that.
Absolute
See,
space.
we saw that is the water movement is the wave. The movement, the force of movement of water in the vortex is what is the wave is. Right? Now, if the water itself is star, if there is no movement, then the wave is same as the water. Right? It is same as the absolute original thing. Same as the original thing. Right? Now.
So, light force particle is a transformation of absolute space, right?
Yes. So, when the spin itself is.
Okay, you say that absolute space takes some boundary and it starts spinning. That is called light force.
That is called charge particles.
Okay.
In the universe, it is Akash particles. In our body, it's charge particles. Okay. Right? So, now, if we want to perceive it, what do we need to do?
We should in ourselves.
Yeah, if this life force particle want to perceive this absolute space, what does it need to do?
To calm down.
Need
So
to.
you say that in the light force particle you want to see the absolute space.
The life force particle is flowing through us.
Flowing through us.
And the frequency of the life force particle is our mind.
Yes.
Right? That is through the mind only we are perceiving it.
Yes.
Right? In whatever the frequency of the mind is what we are perceiving it. Now, if we want to perceive the absolute within us, what we need to do? Reduce the frequency of the spinning.
Okay. So biomagnetism we can perceive it. That's what it's a. Biomagnetism is a reaction spin. What should I say? Life force particle action. If it is spinning, biomagnetism is a result of it.
Result of it.
We can see the result in the meditations now. Whatever you are doing, mirror gazing, land gazing, you can see the result of it.
Yes.
But still, we are not perceiving the life force particle.
Yes. So we are not able to perceive the life force particle because our spin is much higher.
Very higher.
Very higher. And there is continuously it is spinning up and we are not able to perceive. So when the spin is reduced, right? When it goes to the subtle state, we will be getting into this transitionary state where we will be able to perceive the absolute space. Or even during our meditations, right? If you have noticed that sometimes you feel like the senses kind of getting dissolved. You won't feel like you're bonded with the bounty of the body, right? Have anyone noticed that?
Numbers, I feel the total body is one kind of thing.
I will never feel my body at all.
Exactly. Right? And then eventually we'll dissolve it. And then once you get into that state further and further, you'll be able to perceive.
So you're saying we have to tune up to the outside. What is the frequency of the absolute phase or the unified force?
Yes.
That is the 0 to 4 or 7 to 14 cycles. We have to go below that.
Yes.
With the frequency of the outside.
Yes. When you come to this absolute space frequency,
Physics.
We will be able to.
Physics.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Any thoughts? Any questions? Any further? Just wait for that to come up. Right? Or any other. Okay. So how are we polluting this genetic center? So we saw that what to do. Let's at least understand what are the ways in which we are.
With our thoughts.
With our thoughts only we can do it.
With our thoughts only we are impure. Making it like
what we see, what we read.
Yeah, what we see, what we read.
Senses.
That is how we are using it. Okay? Maharishi, when he did this thought process, when he was going through it, he found 3 factors. Okay? Innocence, ignorance, and emotion. Okay? Innocence is not being aware of what is, or not having any knowledge about this parameter, or how this interaction, or every interaction, what we do, impacting our genetic center. That is innocence. Ariyami. When you are not aware of it at all, you will still continuously be doing this.
Ariyama is ignorance, right?
Yeah.
Ariyama is ignorance.
Innocence.
Ignorance is the alashyam.
You know it, you still do it.
Yeah, you know it, you still do it.
You still do it.
Yeah, you know, when you do Kaya Kalpam, you still don't do it, right? That is ignorance.
Like you know the benefit, but still don't do it.
That is not ignorance.
No,
Ignorance
that is ignorance.
No,
Come on,
ignorance
how many times before food you know that you need to do Kaya Kalpam, you don't do it? That is ignorance.
Okay, we'll actually keep it outside, but I don't think that is ignorance.
But that's how Maharishi said, I don't know. Someone who is self-realized, he said there are 3 things through which through which I use this.
I'm not trying to refute Maharishi, I'm trying to refute
the
word
translation
is not correct, yeah.
I don't know. That those are the words even Maharishi said. I don't know.
But I don't think ignorance is a correct word for
Hey, I don't know, Pa. I don't know anything. I'm still not self-realized. I'm just repeating what Maharishi said. Right? Maharishi said innocence, ignorance, and emotional moods. And the translation, what he gave for us, Ariyame, Alashyam, Unarchimaya.
Like how do you say for Alchiyam in English?
carelessness. Achieve is carelessness, right?
That's what.
Okay. Yeah, if that helps you, that's fine. But more than refuting the claims, understand that we understand the 3 times in which we are polluting the genetic center. Right? When the genetic center is not strong or impure, that is what is causing us into the imprints which is already stored into it.
So,
right?
I got a question, Karthik.
So you first get all these 3, right?
Yeah.
Then now you need to ask within yourself that what am I ignorant about? So in which state are we in? Initially we are in an innocent state. Right? Innocence about what?
Then after knowing we go to ignorance.
Okay, so what are we?
We don't know, we didn't do meditations. We know how to do, but we cannot do. I think ignorance.
And then with an emotional state, we will just be continuing with this. Right? Somewhere we need to make the change and start moving on. Right?
Is there like we are always trying to realize life force, biomagnetism, absolute space and all, right? Is there a way like we can realize our genetic center? Genetic center, like
Genetic center is a function of yes.
Yeah,
So
if
what
that,
is
okay? My question is like genetic center has so many things, right? Apart from these three, we have some sin also in it.
yeah, sin imprints is what?
Sin imprints also. If by chance, like out of realization, like after these three, innocence, ignorance, and emotional feelings are we are away from it, and we can read ourselves that these are the things I did in my past, and I want to now with my realization, I want to
Make it
what
better.
should I say?
Yeah, yeah.
Purify it and
how do I see that? How do I fix it?
How to fix it?
How do I know that what problem is
so that
there
I
in the
don't
genetic
take
center?
further lives.
Okay, perfect. Right? That is, those are the same thought process even Mahesh had. Right? We know that what is there in the genetic center. Okay, and we know how the genetic center works. Every interaction what we did has an input and gets stored in the genetic center, right? And depending upon the situations, when the energy from the genetic center, when it passes through the mind, brain, we get as thoughts. Okay, so the window to our genetic center is our thoughts. So this is the answer to your question.
No, sorry, Karthik, I was away actually. I got back.
You missed in innocence. Right? So what is? How do you come to know about this? How can you come to know about the genetic center? The window to our genetic center is our thoughts. Right? Because whatever imprints are there in the genetic center, when the energy comes to the brain, that is what we see as thoughts.
Okay.
Right? So if you want to know the quality of the genetic center, you want to know how pure it is, how strong it is, then you need
You have to analyze our thoughts.
You need to observe your thoughts. Right? How do you observe your thoughts?
Introspection.
I think we are going a little weird action. But remember in introspection 1, we studied about analysis of thoughts. Right? When you get a thought, so if you're getting a thought now, it will be one of the 6 reasons. Right? Need, environment, circumstance. No, don't read that.
We cannot remember.
Yeah. Need. No, don't turn around.
Okay.
Right?
Need.
Then habit.
Circumstance. Hereditary kind of thing.
Yeah, that is genetic center. That is genetic center, right?
6 are there.
So, need, circumstance, habit, others influence, genetic center, and divine.
Okay.
Right? So you know that these are the things, and your window to a genetic center is your thoughts. You know that, right? And if you want to exactly see what is there in your genetic center, what you need to do? When you observe your thoughts, you'll be coming from all the directions, right? Right? First is observing your thoughts. Yes. If you are aware of what is the thoughts, that means you are getting aware of your genetic center, right? And if you want to only be aware of that, just turn off the other 4. Then you have only the genetic center and divine thoughts, which is what we do in silence. The more you sit in silence, there will not be a thought which is coming because of need, habit, circumstance, and others influence. Then what is left is genetic center and divine thoughts. Then you know what is the nature of there in the genetic center. Okay? So practice more in silence, you'll be able to purify your genetic center much faster. That is one way of fixing the genetic center. Right? That is becoming aware and fixing it. That is one sure shot, faster way. What are they?
Aware of, not fixing, right?
No, once a thought comes in silence, then you can see that this is worth it or not. Then we can address it.
Okay.
Right?
Sometimes some action has to be taken place, like these.
Yeah, then that is the imprint is there.
Okay.
And when the mind frequency changes, depending on the situations, you are still going to cover. That is the nature of the genetic center. Right? Okay. That is one way of fixing it. What are the other ways of making the genetic center pure and strong?
Turyathitam.
Turyathitam. When you go into the Turyathitam state, we are touching closer into this absolute space. As we touch closer and closer, we will become more in alignment with that. Then,
so fixing.
Yeah.
So during silence, we understand what are all the things, but how to fix it?
So once you become aware of it,
yeah.
Right? Once you become aware of it, and if you don't take any action out of it,
okay.
And if you just take a sankalpa, it's just an imprint is there, and then the imprint will come.
No, it will not go. So that time you will not take.
If you still have a burning desire there,
you are superimposing.
You will superimpose that. You will superimpose that.
At that time only you should find a remedy of that. Or
you don't need to. Okay, once you put the remedy, then you will you'll get carried away, right? Once you slowly ignore or accept it, and then if it is if you hurt someone and then come into yours, and then if you say sorry, expired, and then it will. Okay. If you have a desire,
if you really mean it,
sometimes we need to do prayaschitta on
yeah.
If it is saying kind of sorry or
that is expiation.
some service or something, right? Sometimes we need to do also. After realization, we need to do
depending upon how strong the imprint in the genetic center is.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
Yes. These two are the only things, right?
Yes.
Genetic center.
So it's basically it's about eradication of sin imprints. Expiation, dissipation, sublimation. Expiation, superimposition, sublimation. Those are the only ways of getting into self-realization. Okay?
Rajendran was discussing, I just want to share this imprints thing.
Yeah.
So if we do Turyathitam meditation, we are just superimposing that our imprints, right? Like we'll make it come to absolute frequency kind of thing.
Superimpose or sublimate into the divine.
Maybe my word is wrong. So there will be some imprints left us. Since we were self-realized, this will be gone to someone else. These imprints, this karma will be given to someone else.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it was. 7 generations we have to face, and sometimes, right? If the frequency match it to someone in the nature, that they will absorb this karmas. That's why he told.
I haven't tested this.
Every thought and every action of yours.
So what he meant
someone in the nature will also suffer along with it.
True. So what he meant there is the wave comes, crashes, and then reflects back. But as a thought has come, it has made an imprint in the universal magnetic field and in us.
Yeah, universal, yes.
And in us. Okay. So for the imprint which is made in us,
we get rid of it.
We can at least become aware. But then there is an impact made there, and still the effect of that will still be there.
Yes.
Right? Now think about it. Right? We see so many crimes which is happening now. So many problems is happening now. Especially sexual violence. Today, if you look in the paper, it's like not even look into it for 15-20 minutes. So many news is what you see. Because somebody got an opportunity to do that. Are we 100% perfect? Are we honest? We didn't have that opportunity. That's it. At the moment when we thought about something, at the moment when we thought of creating a sexual violence, at the moment when we have a immoral sexual passion, the imprint is made as universal magnetic field. So somewhere if you see that all these bad uses, we are also back to far because we did not in a genetic center. made an infant. Someone was not aware, was super ignorant, then they become a victim. Right? And since we are also partially contributed to it, some impact of it, we also need to suffer. Right? So it's all completely related. So the action is to make the genetic center clean and strong. Clean and strong. What is making it strong means?
Strong.
Clean is taking an imprint further. So what do you mean by it's making it strong?
To retain in that phase. And
so ideally what should be the state is when you think something, when you have a need, when you want something, right? Within a while, so what that needs to be fruitified, only that needs to be a thought. Right? What that needs to be, that is really required, only that would become a thought, only that we should foster it. So the time between a thought arising in us and the between to materialize it should be as less as possible. Right? So that is the characteristics of a stronger genetic center. We get into the state when we have lesser desires. When we have more and more and more and more desires, there is more and more imprints. So the overall energy is distributed across all these desires. You want to do it. So none of it is stronger. When you have very lesser desire, when you have very little action items, whatever thoughts coming in will be very strong and have an equal impact. You will see the result of that. Right? Okay, so that's how we make it strong. And we see that it is not just within our genetic center. Right? This, what an impact is happening in our genetic center. The correction of that is what is becoming a trend, and that is what is becoming a culture. Right? The trend is what most people do it together. And introspection is altogether making peace with society. So once we have a genetic center stronger and pure, right, we'll get into a culture of having a pure genetic center. That's a spiritual way of life. Right? I should say that spiritual means spirit. Right? It's being aware of spirit. Spirit is life energy. Leading a life which is being aware of the spiritual life energy. When we lead a life in that manner, we will be leading into a way, being aware of the genetic center, and we will not be causing problem to society. Right? Right? Getting into a distractor. All right, let's do one thing. Let's do a small experiment. Okay? So what is the difference between awareness and consciousness?
difficult question. Object to type we can answer. Filling the blanks we cannot. Give options in this. Awareness and consciousness. Consciousness.
One form of consciousness is awareness.
Awareness is being aware of your thoughts. Consciousness, just like we talked about when we started, it's the order of things, order of the way planets move and all that.
Okay, let's do a small experiment. Okay, let's do one thing. Yeah, we'll close it. We'll close it.
We need awareness to reach consciousness.
Okay, ask what is awareness and what is consciousness, and what is the difference between it? What is the relationship between the two? Okay, let's do one thing. Take your hand out. On your hand, keep your pen. Okay? Nine. Okay?
பெரிய பெண்ணை வச்சா கான்சியஸ்னஸ் நல்ல பெருசா இருக்கு.
பெருசா இருக்கு.
Alright. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and think at your palms. Okay, now try to answer my question without opening your eyes. What is in your hands? Pen. Okay. How do you know that it is a pen?
Because you have to keep
Okay. The difference between awareness and consciousness is you knowing that you are able to feel and you are able to touch that there is an object within you, on you. Right? That is awareness. I'm touching a pen. I'm touching a pen is awareness. Okay, a pen is in my hand. You are aware of it. And knowing that I'm touching a pen, knowing that I'm doing this is consciousness. Getting it?
Can you tell the sentence again, Karthik?
Yes, good. This is awareness, okay? Yeah. Where is the pen? It is in my hand. Where is the pen? It is in my hand. That is awareness. How do you know that it is in my hand? Because I can perceive it. I am perceiving it. I am perceiving it. That is consciousness. Consciousness is so let's break that word. Science means to know. Science, science, S-C-I-E-N-C, comes from the Latin word, means to know. Con means together or with, or I, or with together. Okay? Conscience means knowing that you are knowing. Knowing that you are knowing. You know that this is there. And knowing that you're knowing is conscious. Is it communicated?
So for the first thing you said, awareness is not I'm having a pen. Awareness is there is something in my hand is awareness.
No, I'm having a pen. Where is the pen?
Pen?
Where is the pen?
You saw that. You saw that.
Say, okay, where is it? Where is the pen?
In my hand.
That is awareness. How do you know that it is in your hand? How do you know that it is in your hand? You tell me now. You look at your hands. You look at it and see that. Right?
I sense it.
You sensed it. How did you sense it?
So, can we talk in the reverse way? Consciousness with some senses becomes awareness, adding a layer to it. Consciousness plus some sense, touch, feel, or something emotional.
Exactly. That's what they say as different levels of consciousness. Okay. Sixth sense. So the sense of touch is the first sense. Okay. That is the first growth of consciousness. Right? And the second is taste. Those are different stages of consciousness. And the sixth sense is knowing consciousness itself.
Okay.
Right? Only we are capable of that. No other animal can say that I am looking. I know that my mind is saying this. Right? And that is awareness. And knowing that I am aware is consciousness. Okay? Okay? Yeah? Any questions further?
Water break up break.
Okay, all right. If you want to take a break, that's fine.
We can sit, but it will not go into our heads.
Yeah, that's not
5 minutes break we need.
Who was near G? Okay, just take a this way. It's fine. Very quick then. So any questions in this line?
Can you translate it? Okay. Define awareness in consciousness.
விழிப்புணர்வு.
Tamil. Okay, விழிப்புணர்வு.
விழிப்பு உணர்வு. அறிவு. அறிதல். அறிவு.
So
கையில ஏதோ நீங்க விழிப்புணர்வு கொண்டு வர முடியும். அறிவே இல்லைன்னா விழிப்புணர்வு இருக்காது.
Yeah. So if we put it even more deeper, right? Consciousness is a state of happening. Transcendental state. It's a transitional state. State of happening. It is happening. Right? It is happening. I'm knowing is continuous tense. To know can be past.
English continuous tense, continuous present tense, past tense.
அறிவு விழிப்புணர்வு இல்லையா? So அறிவே இல்லைன்னா விழிப்புணர்வுன்னு ஒண்ணு உங்களால கொண்டு வர முடியாது.
எனக்கு அதெல்லாம் புரியுது. I can understand that, but okay. I'll think through it. Do you speak Hindi?
No. You have a question in Hindi?
No. I'm not really good at it. I'm just curious. Do they speak Hindi in Tamil?
No.
Me too.
What prompted you for that?
I'm sorry?
What prompted you for that?
No, just curious. Well, you guys speaking Tamil. In Punjab, mostly we speak Punjabi, but we're also pretty good in Hindi. So Hindi and Punjabi kind of same. And when you guys speak Tamil,
you never did it.
And no, some words are like old school Punjabi, like my grandfather used to speak. Then I hear it, I'm like, wait, what? So it's just like one here and there words. So it's very similar. So that's that kind of.
Some languages are derived. Devanagari language is based, right? Devanagari.
Most of the languages are
derived from
the root words are from Sanskrit. Even Punjabi, Tamil, Telugu, everything. Yeah. So that's why
they said Tamil, Telugu has its own roots. Sanskrit has its own root.
Okay, let's not get into this linguistic fights.
I'm just telling the commonness. There will be some common language we have derived and we modified. So you will be seeing words common in all languages.
Yeah, I'm even seeing Punjabi different now. There's a Punjabi difference in this town and that town. Now we moved to United States. We speak different, completely different Punjabi than Indian. And my dad speaks a different Punjabi than we do. And my kids barely speak Punjabi. And so they have a funny Punjabi, I guess. They mix with English.
Punjabi.
Exactly. English and Hindi and Punjabi. That's the funny story. My dad's.
What I think of next generations, I feel very bad. They're missing a lot. Should not say yes, great, but.
It's because of you, right? No, it's because of you, right?
So our landlord was Gujarati. He speaks Hindi. So my dad's not really well in Hindi. So he mixed, and especially when he drinks, right? When he's drunk, he speaks the funniest language. I don't know what he speaks. He mixed Spanish because he works with Spanish, and Punjabi, then Hindi. So the guy came and we were just videotaping him. It's just so funny. He's like mixing Punjabi, Hindi, and Spanish. And the guy's like, I have no idea what you want. Yes. So, yeah. I guess that's why the whole language. There's
still what topics are left, Karthik?
Even this itself, we haven't finished yet.
Oh. So there is another temperamental modes, right?
Yeah.
That's apart from.
So there's this book. It's a $2,000 book. It's like crystal languages. So this guy put together. You can barely. First of all, you can't find it. it actually takes you back to Phoenician language, right? Where they Sanskrit and Tamil. They say Tamil was the first language, and that's
no. That depends upon who is writing it. Right?
Yeah. I get that too. There's a lot of fight on the internet.
No, English guy wrote Tamil is the first language, so.
Everybody say whatever way.
I just want to pull it.
No, he puts the historical things and all together. Yeah, so it's pretty unique. $2,000. It's in my wish list.
Okay, let's continue. Do we understand what is consciousness or a function? And how does that manifested?
I think Colin is it.
Colleen.
Colin.
Yeah. How does consciousness, how does that order of functioning manifested in living beings we saw? Right? So the consciousness manifests in, you see that consciousness in inanimate things as pattern, precision, and regularity. The order of function as pattern, precision, and regularity. And living beings as cognition, experience, and discrimination, which is basically senses. Senses is cognition, and from there, in the experience, you discriminate. Okay? And then, in human beings, has an ability to understand or realize or become aware of itself. Okay? These are the ways in which it is happening. So that means we have the ability to perceive consciousness. We have the ability to perceive consciousness. And what is preventing us from doing that?
Emotions, ignorance. Yeah, I had a problem, but
Innocence,
ignorance, and emotions.
So now you are aware of it. Are you conscious of what is stopping you from perceiving? The ignorance is gone. Innocence is gone. These are the three things what Manish said. Right? We are aware of it now. But are we
the first level
conscious of? This is what is stopping me from getting self-realized.
Maybe the last two, the ignorance and.
So you're saying we are.
So
we
okay,
are actually,
the point is,
The
what really
innocence
making is,
still don't
it's a direct question which you should try to ask yourself. Right? Can I get self-realized? What is really stopping me from getting enlightened or self-realized?
ignorance phase.
No one answered me. Answer to yourself.
So how does emotion plays in this world?
Good. Yeah? That's a kind of question with what? Yeah? Why would emotion make sense?
Because your frequencies.
Because what is happening is, right, when we have a desire, when you wanted to perceive something, you attain it, right? In that process, when you want to attain it, right, while trying to attain it, or when there is a need arise, the energy rises to fulfill it. Right? Remember the 10 stages of mind. Talking about you rise to fulfill that need, right? And there is a natural incentive in the evolutionary process to fulfill the need, right? And that is what is pleasure is. Right? Whenever a need is fulfilled, you see pleasure. Right? Only then you will go and fulfill it. Else, the life will not sustain. By evolution, it is how we are programmed. Right? And now, when a need is fulfilled, you have this pleasure. And this pleasure is good. So you want to have more of it. The next time, even without there is a need, you go and try to fulfill it. Right? In that condition, what will happen? you will try to fulfill a lot of those stress pressures without a limit and proper method of fulfillment. Really?
Yes.
Why? Give me an example.
So even money, making money. So initially you need money, so then you make it. Afterwards, after certain times, even though if you don't need money, then you keep on making money and then try.
So initially there is a need.
Yes.
Right? Most of this is from within the body. There is a physical, fundamentally there is a physical need. You try to pursue the physical need. Right? And then in that act of pursuing it, you was feeling good and you wanted to have more of it. Okay? Is good to the faculty of the body or the senses. You pursue more and more of it. Like any sensory perception.
Success is also that kind of thing.
What is success?
Anything. If you achieve something, if you did some good job, like somebody admired you, somebody praised you,
Yes.
and we feel good, and we do more, and we expect more. It's like we unknowingly we get into that trap.
Yeah, get into this emotional attachments. So basically, you get into an emotional attachment state.
Right? Suppose as a mango, I want to eat mango. So initially, whether it's a desire or a need.
If you're
hungry,
it is
not get hungry.
If you're hungry, it is a desire.
I'm not hungry because I am already had food, but I saw mango.
Okay.
I never had mango. I mean, I had mango, but the past 2-3 months I never had. This is mango season. First mango I saw. But it's not. I'm not hungry. But whether that's a desire or it's a need.
Yeah, you tell me. What is the need you have?
So without mango also I can able to live. So it's not like I need to survive.
Okay.
Right? But
there's a thin line between desire and need.
Yeah. Hold on. Desire is
it's a kind of
the elevation of consciousness to fulfill the need. Right?
That is
and elevation of consciousness or the energy to fulfill a need, that is desire. That is the definition of desire as per Mahesh. Okay? When there is no need, and you still want to pursue that fulfillment, that means you are just following what is there in your genetic imprints. Previously, when you had that experience as an imprint, you want to follow the same path. That is attachment.
Yeah.
You take the call.
So that I already had now drinks, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's a sensory attachment, right?
Yeah,
have a sensory
then
attachment.
the sensory need.
Then we can apply limited method. Having 1 or 2 is okay. Like taking more comes into desire, greed.
Yeah, that's correct. But even taking first,
that's okay.
Hold on. So you.
I don't know. So
what is I don't know? If you consume, will it hinder your digestion? Will it affect your body?
No, it will not.
Will it? The last time, if it is not affect, then it is okay.
So in that example, why do you want to eat the mango? Is it because you're hungry? No, you're not. So you want it. So it's for pleasure, right? So pleasure is an emotion. So that will be in the emotion category.
The emotion is okay. Not having a limit and method is not okay.
Yeah.
A limit and method is in every sensory experience without causing harm to the body, without expending too much of the biomagnetism, without depleting it. When you try to consume it, that is not appropriate. That is a call one has to make. Right? The mango can be so huge. The mango can be a piece of mango. Okay? When the limit and method is followed, you're fine. You're not destroying the system. Okay? When the limit and method is not followed, you could destroy the system. Isn't it? Okay. Okay. So we're talking about the consciousness and the factors which affects us in attaining it is from the not having a proper understanding of how the biomatter is spread, how the body works, how the life energy is spread. Having this unified force, absolute space within us, not having that. And even knowing that and ignoring our knowledge and ignoring the previous experiences, okay, of what happened, we get into this emotional attachment. A better solution is to be aware of the genetic center, right, and try to get into the deeper state, right, which is try to get into this deeper state. Hence, you can experience this consciousness within yourself. Okay. Once you do it more and more and more and more, you'll be able to appreciate the consciousness in self functioning in us as a senses, the sixth sense, and then we'll be able to pursue that in other living beings as cognition, experience, and discrimination, also in us, and then in non-living organs, we see that as a function of pattern, precision, and regularity. Right? Now, how is that related to the topic? Okay, so fine. Then how is that God? And how is consciousness is God?
Consciousness, that will be unique in everything, right? Like if we realize of that, we feel the consciousness. That it's a parameter of you say absolute space. So that will be uniform.
One and a half hours we talk all around, but we don't come to the topic at all.
Yeah. So actually, what is God means God is everywhere and all those things. What are all the properties of the God? The consciousness is also having those things.
Let's define the properties of God then. What are the properties of God?
It's omnipotent.
Okay.
Omnipresence.
Yeah.
Omnipotent, omnipresent. And then omniscient. Is there any other definition of God?
It permeates everything. Unexplainable, unpermeable, omnipotent.
Will it fall into any of this? Permeates into everything is omnipresent.
So I would define the uniqueness in everything is God.
So common definition of God, dictionary definition, I really define. God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. Right? That encompasses all the categories. Uniqueness in everything is a pattern, precision, and regularity, which is omnipresent and omniscient. Okay. Now let's see if the definition of consciousness meet these categories. Okay. What is omnipotent?
Power to
Potent is force. Right?
Omni means?
Omni means everywhere. Completely. Completely. Absolute. Unlimited power.
Okay.
Right? Do we agree that consciousness has unlimited power?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh.
How do we know that?
Absolute space is
everywhere. It's rotating.
It has some force.
It has some force. It has some force.
But we see for a for a fact we are saying consciousness, but we have no idea whether consciousness is the one which is having all the planets or everything in space.
Beautiful question. Let's say this. Okay. Let's take a tub of water or a glass of water, or for the matter, you're sitting in a chair. Which is heavier here? You. You or a chair?
That depends.
Okay, all right. So that is everything. Okay, let's take a glass of water. That will be much easier. Right? Take a glass of water. On top of the glass of water, if you put wax in it, right? What is holding that wax? The lighter one comes up, right? And the heavier one is holding the lighter one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
right?
absolute.
The same way, if you inside a block of water, if you put a metallic block, the metal block goes down. Okay? Generally, the heavier one is capable of holding the lighter one together. Right? Look at this planets. Where is it spinning around? Why there is no free fall of it? There should be some force holding it together, right? So can we say that
We can
consciousness is something important there?
we can name that forces consciousness.
Okay, we started with the assumption,
Absolute
As
force and
two
parameters.
right? So omnipotent. Do you agree?
Yes.
All right.
Omnipresence.
Omnipresent.
That's it.
There's
How do you
absolute space in everything.
So
How
that's
do you
In
know?
every
kind of force.
life force particles, everything is made of life force particles. Every life force particle has.
Is there life force particles here?
Yes.
But still, charge particles are there, not life force particles. Charge particles are
It
there.
has.
Pattern, precision, regularity.
There is pattern, precision, regularity. So that is omniscient. Right? There is the order of function there. Yeah. Right? If something spins, that itself means there is space around it. Right? If something spins, that itself means there is space around it. Right? And like what you're saying, everything is having a pattern, and that is what is we see as consciousness. And omniscient is knowing everything. Okay? This get to know everything. How do we acknowledge that? Because there is a pattern, precision, and regularity in everything, and we just saw that all the senses are a continuation of the consciousness. Right? We saw that from the first sense of touch to ear, eyes, sight, everything, and even the sense of self itself is a function of consciousness. Right? Hence, we say consciousness is God. So this is actually a precursor, right? Yeah, finally happy. This topic is on. Building on this for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? We will go more in detail, a little more in detail. So this is a precursor to what we are going to see in Pramaya. Next, right? This is like introduction of the concepts, right? At least to understand what is stopping us to have this realization. Right? That realization is going more into detail during Brahmayana. In the next stage, we will
So introspection 3. After that, what is the course?
Brahmayana. We will see that. That is realization. No,
After that, master's course.
After the master's course. Right? So
Brahmadhana was 2 days. Brahmadhana 2 days. Say 1.5 days.
say, I think it will be around 1.5 days. Right? The point is, during this time, the next 1 month, we will go deeper and deeper, and we'll try to reduce that gap further and further. Hence, when we go to the next stage, when someone discusses about it, we should be able to experience it and validate it. Experience and validate. So now this is the introduction to the concept. Now the innocence is gone. Right? then we know that it is the imprints in us which is not letting us to go further deeper. And the way to get out of that is doing meditation, silence, and practicing limited method in our interactions. Hence, we get the imprints further and further came down, and then we'll be able to get into this realization. We'll practice that during our sessions next 1 month or 2 months. Then when you go for Ramayana, we should be able to realize it.
2 months Ramayana course will be there.
Yeah, mostly 2 months. We will be able to realize within us. Okay? And the application of that is what is Karma Yoga. Alright? Any questions on this so far? It's just a precursor.
It's like Christopher Nolan trainer.
Is it? No, it's a history of yourself. Right? It's a history of yourself.
So I'm saying it's a Christopher Nolan trainer.
Okay. Alright. You guys want a break or we'll go to the next session? We'll continue the next session? Right.
Is that okay for everyone? I should
Just get another water.
Yeah. Just quickly. Yesterday only I did not do anything. Today I don't think so. I did not have lunch also, my husband. Promised him I will come by 1:30.
I think we'll be done in an hour.
1 hour will complete cooking?
Yeah.
Okay. Happily I can go and cook. Yesterday I did not cook. What my children did, I was sleeping at that time. I remembered this. By the time I went home, right, they are like, Mommy, I am hungry. We went to temple. They're in temple waiting in Milpita Satyanarayana Swami temple. We went there. I went directly to there. My elder one was like, Mommy, I am hungry. I saw some prasadam. I gave her to eat. I never saw her sitting like that for 10 minutes and eating. That hungry she was.
If I suppose book in Ramayana, if I actually want to read the book, should I have completed all 3? Just not a deep understanding, but at least because I told the problem, right? I'm not able to map between the English knowledge and the so should I have actually gone through all 3?
So whatever we spoke today is from Introspection and Malayalam Kai Part 3.
Yeah, because yesterday I said, okay, maybe I'll actually go today and read that.
Yeah. Actually, what we did is just an introduction. Only when you go back and read.
No, but as I said, right, the words you told in English, even with, for example, you said you explained the difference between consciousness and the